Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going In Raw podcast. Joey Janela always goes in.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going In Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick-butt show called Steve and Larson's Going In Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. Also taped live at the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. AEW Dynamite tonight. Turmoil in the inner circle resolved. New
Hardly.
women's tournament to crown new number one contender.
Announced.
Mox squashes a guy who evidently is a friendo.
That's
Nick
great to hear.
Comoroto. I don't know. Where do you want to start with this thing, man? I mean, Kenny and the Bucks are kind of like the A story. They're being kind of torn apart.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, all right, we'll start with that. So early in the show, the Young Bucks paid a visit to, I mean, if it's Kenny's house, quite luxurious. It looks very nice. Apparently, it's on the beach. Went to pay a visit. I think they scheduled an appointment because Michael Nakazawa was there to greet them, said they were expected. They walk into the house, find Kenny not there. They did find an oil painting portrait, however, of Kenny and Don Callis. And Don Callis is as jacked as Kenny is. They're shirtless.
That was great.
Abs, pecs, flexing muscles, all that. And so rather than Kenny talking to him, Don Callis approaches and more or less says, here's some money, go away. And not just go away from Kenny's house, go away from Kenny's life. The Young Bucks, of course, took issue with this, and the implication is that they probably super kicked him or beat him up a little bit. Later on, Kenny shows up at the venue, walks in the locker room, asks, hey, Don, why do you have the shiner, the black eye? And Callis is like, oh, I just had an accident. Accidentally let slip. Matt and Nick were responsible. So it was announced that next week that the Good Brothers and the Young Bucks are teaming together in an 8-man tag match. That's probably going to go really poorly. So I think I said this in news brief today. I wouldn't be surprised. Good Brothers go over Private Party, the Impact title match. Next team Tony Khan goes to try to take those tag titles off Good Brothers, Matt and Nick Jackson.
Yeah, could be. Kind of curious where Mox sort of plays a role in all this. Obviously, he's gunning for Kenny, but something's got to sidetrack him while Kenny's on his, quest to be the greatest of all time.
I'll say this. Callis, at the open of Impact, said that they were going to take a break from Impact for a while. They had some things to deal with on Dynamite. So I don't know if that means until Revolution they're going to focus on AEW and maybe just have Good Brothers show up on Dynamite to advance that particular story, have other people from AEW show up on Impact to advance the whole, invasion type thing. And then, one thing that Mox said, and maybe it's reading too much into it, is, he said, you could throw anybody at me. They could be from here. They could be from Mexico. They could be from Japan. Doesn't matter. All roads professional wrestling run through me. So is that foreshadowing for something happening at Revolution, potentially? Who knows?
Is Kenta finally going to make his Dynamite?
Well, Kenta, he is in Bullet Club.
Yeah, man. And Mox said Bullet Club. He said Japan. What do those two things have in common with Kenta? He's both those things. Anyways, otherwise, fairly standard Dynamite tonight. Nothing too off the charts. But still, it's pretty entertaining. It kicked off with Negative One's birthday party. John Silver, he comes out riding on top of Ten's shoulders. The whole Dark Order come out, minus Hangman Page, who's sort of like friend of Dark Order. But we find out a little bit later on what his final answer is. Not terribly shocking, but it was a pretty well executed moment. So John Silver talks about Dark Order getting a new recruit in Hangman Page to kick things off. Then he leads the crowd in singing "Happy Birthday" to young Brody. That's interrupted though by Luther in Serpentico. Luther says his place has become a daycare. He basically takes offense to people saying he looks stupid. He says, I'll let you know my face is perfectly symmetrical. And he says number one is a doofus. I'm sorry, yeah, negative one is a doofus. And he says, Chaos Project do not like children, and we're going to ruin your birthday. So the Dark Order take offense of that. They attack them. The Hybrid 2 comes out to make to sort of, even the odds. And then Hangman Page comes and makes a big fun splash off the stage. That leads into the match, Chaos Project and TH2 versus the Dark Orders, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, and Colt Cabana, and Hangman Page. This is a lot of fun stuff, especially towards the finish.
It was a lot of fun stuff, especially towards the finish. So towards the finish, we get so Serpentico hits Reynolds with a super kick, a DDT. Evans follows with the 450. Before that, there's a lot of great stuff going on where it all led to Page hitting a moonsault on Chaos Project on the floor. So then Evans hits the 450. Page is in to break up that pin. Evans sends him out of the ring. He does a leap over. Page catches him, power bombs him into Angelico, who had earlier been uppercut into the crowd by John Silver. So we go back up on the stage. There's a table set up with the cake and all. Luther setting up the power bomb. Colt threw that table into the cake. -1 comes up, clocks him with a kendo stick. Colt then flapjacks Luther into the cake. Back in the ring. Page hits buckshot. John Silver hits a nasty German suplex. Reynolds follows with a jackknife pin, all on Serpentico to get the win.
So after the match, -1 ends up taking the kendo stick to Serpentico's head, then says, "It was my birthday 3 days ago, you idiots!" And then he's given some papers to then throw at Serpentico, who's crawling away. It was pretty funny stuff. So after that, John Silver gets on the mic, and he's ready for his answer. He starts buttering up Hangman, says...
Oh, he puts him over huge.
It's very much like a Chris Farley, Paul McCartney interview thing where he's like, man, I think you're so great. You're just a really good wrestler. You're so handsome with your hair. It looks so great. You're just amazing. And we want to know, are you going to join the Dark Order? And then as soon as he says, I can't... Like immediately, like on the Tron, it says he said yes. All these dancers start coming out, confetti comes in,
flying,
and they're immediately because they heard him say I can't, I can't. They start like Anna Jay's over there telling the dancers to get back. No, just go back away, and they all look disappointed. It was pretty funny stuff. They immediately shut down the party, and Hangman very graciously says, you guys are great. I've had so much fun with you guys. You're awesome. He says, but I've done the group thing before. I'm so sorry. He leaves. And I think, was it Grayson who had that bottle of Jack?
Yeah, a bottle of booze, yeah.
Yeah, and Hangman took that from him and went off backstage. So, sad Hangman.
Lonely cowboy.
His plight continues.
Yep. After that, Alex Marvez interviewing MJF and Jericho. MJF's talking about how he doesn't want to break up the inner circle. And he asked Jericho, aren't you worried that this could happen? Because of the match tonight, Jericho goes, no. They all made a handshake deal, a goodwill gesture to see which tag team become the next tag champs. They all made the rule to put it behind them after the match, and that will be that. And MJF says, well, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this will make the inner circle stronger. Hey, and we're going to be the next AEW tag team champions.
After that, it's funny because like I love all these people involved, but this is just, it's sort of beyond silly now. Like the entirety of the Darby Team Taz stuff and Sting stuff has been a bit on the repetitious side. But they had that fun match last week, and there was some really good like storytelling involved. So this week, Sting felt the need to congratulate Darby Allin. So Sting comes out first. He's introduced by Tony Schiavone. Darby Allin comes out, and Sting says, man, I see, when I look at you, I see a lot of myself in you. You're a phenomenal wrestler, and I just want to congratulate you for being TNT champion. He says, and last week when I came down, I wasn't there to interrupt the match. I just wanted to make sure Darby had a straight up chance to win this thing with no interference. So they're interrupted by Taz on the Tron along with Team Taz, and he basically makes the claim that Sting and Darby Allin fight dirty, street style. He says, my guys are gentlemen, but I grew up in the streets. Do your research on Taz. He says, these men behind me, though, they're street fighters. And then he sort of puts the microphone to Starks, and he says something, but the mic was like, it's one of those mics where you have to be like right on it.
Yeah, to talk right on it, yeah.
So it was more stuff about fighting in the streets. And then Taz basically says, okay, so now the ball's in your court, gentlemen. And at that point, I'm like, okay, why don't they just say, well, we won the TNT title match. We don't really, you guys aren't even here. You're afraid of one 55-year-old man. Anyways, so Sting whispers something to Darby. Darby says, hey, Taz, you want to take it to the streets? Be careful what you wish for. It might just happen. So
I guess we're going to have some sort of cinematic street fight then.
it sounds like that's probably the case. And if they don't if they don't hire the guy who on Impact had well, that actually might be the same guy now that I think about it. I mean, they took Kevin Sullivan, not the Taskmaster, from Impact. Mm-hmm. So I'm talking about when what was it? The OGs ran over a child towards the tail end of their feud with LAX.
Yeah.
So maybe a little kid will get run over. Maybe Darby Allin will get run over.
Dear.
Turtle Boy.
So next up, I mentioned this a bit at the beginning. Young Bucks walk up to Kenny's house. Alex Marvez is there for some reason. So the Bucks go in. Nakazawa says, "Hey, we've been expecting you." He escorts them into the living room. That's when they see that oil painting of Jack Kenny and Jack Don Callis, and that's what Callis walks in. Said he had a painting commission for Kenny's birthday. The Young Bucks say, "Well, his birthday's in October," and then Callis ribs them about getting a birthday gift for Kenny. And that brings up the Bucks talk about how embarrassed they were last week. They wonder where Kenny is now. Don said he's not there. He's busy. And Matt's like, well, we've been calling him. Like, he hasn't returned a calls or texts. And Don says, well, yeah, he's got a new phone number. You know, a bunch of people just keep on trying to get a hold of him. You know, he's trying to, he doesn't want that to happen anymore. But he says, now that you're here, let's clear the air. So first, Don tells Nakazawa, take Marvez to the dungeon, as well as the camera guy. So the camera guy just drops the camera, but it's still rolling. And then Don says, you know, that you guys have made quite an investment in your friendship with Kenny. Here, I'll make sure you're compensated for your time, and cuts him a check. Hands it to Matt. Matt was like, all right, this is good and all, but this is how much you made last week. And Don's like, oh, here, yeah, the merchandise. You guys sell a bunch of merch. Writes them another check. And then Matt gives him crap about bribing them essentially out of their friendship with Kenny. Don says, sorry, it has to go this way. They were great friends. Now you're just holding Kenny back. Kenny's too nice to tell this to you in person, but I'm not. And then this was a good line. So Matt says, you know, we used to work for the company that you do now. We know these checks are no good. Mm-hmm. And they start backing him down, threatening him. And Don's like, oh, no, don't do it. Don't do it. He backs in the camera, cut to black. And we find out what happens later on.
You hear some rustling about. So, yeah.
And you hear Don Callis going, no. So after that, we had pretty Peter Avalon versus Cody. So what I sort of blinked. Did he hit a crossroads really early in this match? Is that what happened? At the bell.
Okay, all right.
Because he said Cody, he's going to beat Avalon in a minute or less.
Okay, so I saw I saw the entrances. I sort of turned and then I looked and there was like, why doesn't he just pin him? And I was like, oh, did he hit a crossroads just then? Okay. Yeah. So, but instead of that, Jade Cargill interrupts, and the ref gets distracted by that. Well, Cody's distracted by that. The ref's distracted by that. It allows Peter to come to and hits Cody with a low blow. He kicks him in the nuts. Mm-hmm. Starts working over his knee. We have kind of an actual match here. You know, they get the finish. Saw a figure 4 spot. Cody gets it on. Peter versus it. Cody versus that. And then what was his finish? Because it was sort of an abrupt one.
It was. It was a situation where I kind of looked down for a minute, and I don't know. I don't remember if Cody did actually slap Avalon in the face or try to, and Avalon tapped so he wouldn't get smacked in the face.
Oh, okay.
Period or again.
Oh, because he's pretty. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Earlier on, there was he was bent over and telling Cody not to hit him in the face, and Cody did the drop down punch thing.
Okay, that's cool.
After that, we had a FTR Tully promo. Tully says the ratings are in. FTR number 1, but they need the belts. It's all meaningless without the belts. So Jurassic Express walks in. Jungle Boy says, I'm sick of this. You're supposed to be the best. You may be the best, but here's one thing. You taught me something. I could beat either one of you one-on-one. Dax steps up, says, oh yeah, I'll beat you. I don't need Tully or Cash ringside to do it. So they start chirping back and forth, and rather than say, all right, just one-on-one, Luchasaurus says, okay, we'll all be ringside, and I'll just make sure no one gets involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then after that, we had Mox versus Nick Comoroto. That's a big dude, right? Big hairy dude.
6'4" and 260 some pounds. They said, I think.
Yeah, that's a big dude right there.
Yeah, he's huge.
And he got quite a lot of stuff in here. They didn't just job him out like a squash match. Mox ended up getting the win by submission, but Nick had a pretty good showing considering that he's against the most powered up guy in probably all of wrestling.
Yeah, probably.
Afterwards, Mox cut a promo. Said, man, ever since I came back, can't keep track of who's Bullet Club, what's going on with Impact, et cetera, et cetera. He said he wants Kenny. The steeper the climb, the sweeter something or another. You can bring people from anywhere. All roads lead through me. I mean, it's a Mox promo. Yeah. So there really wasn't much going on there. He just acknowledged that the landscape is what it is, and he's still the top guy. And he wants Kenny. So
yeah, he wants his belt back, essentially. After that, Eddie Kingston interview. He's facing Archer next week. He's asked, how do you prepare? He says, I don't prepare. I just fight. He's talked about having a really hard time lately. He's about to bring up his match against Pac. He's like, no, I'm moving on. I'm just going to fight Archer next week. Archer runs in and just starts speaking like a mile a minute. I couldn't catch half of it. He gets a lot in. I did get in, though. Something about a simple message, everyone dies. And then so they start chirping back and forth again. Jake gets Archer out of there, and then Jake says, well, Eddie, well, you want to say something, you could do it to Lance's face next week, one-on-one.
Yeah. So after that, we've got Don Callis in the locker room with Kenny, and essentially after some hemming and hawing, he reveals that the Young Bucks are the people who busted his facha, his face. It's kind of funny because when he mentions it was Matt and Nick, Marvez comes busting in. Are you saying the Young Bucks did that to you? And he's like, why are you always around me?
I like that part of Kenny's new gimmick is that he's a Dirk Diggler after he got some money.
He's got the fancy wardrobe,
all the expensive clothes. He comes in talking about his fancy shirt and his new boots, which come into play later. It's pretty funny. After that, we got Matt Sydal and Top Flight versus Hardy Party, Matt Hardy and Private Party. Of course, Private Party fresh off winning the #1 contender match on Impact for the tag titles. This is a fun match. Slowly but surely, I mean, this is kind of like the culmination in a lot of ways. Private Party falling prey to the spell that Matt Hardy has cast, turning heel.
I loved this. I thought this was really well done. It was a pretty long match. It was a really fun one. Sydal and Top Flight work really, really well together. All these guys work really well. There was a couple sloppy spots, but by and large, this was a really, really fun match. So the one part, Money Matt drops side effects on both members of Top Flight, goes for a pin, only gets 2. So towards finish, Matt Hardy distracts the ref as Cassidy uses the chair. Mark Quinn and one of Top Flight guys were up on the top. The younger one was up on the top. And Cassidy, to give Quinn the advantage, hits the dude in the ribs with the chair. And he sort of looks back, and Mark Quinn looks down on him like, what the hell was that? And Cassidy just sort of gives him a smile like, yeah, we've got this in the bag. And so Quinn gets a smile on his face like, okay, if you're cool, I'm cool. It was a great little moment of nonverbal communication.
It was really good.
So I think that the shot ended up sending the Top Flight guy down to the bottom, and then Quinn ended up, what was it, like a 450 that he dropped
Shooting
on?
star press.
Shooting star press, okay. And got the win on the match. After the match, Top Flight, of course, and Sydal takes issue with the chair shot, but Private Party and Hardy end up taking them out. But, I mean, dude, look, they're under contract with Matt Hardy. He's their mentor. All sorts of experience. Yeah. Why did it take this long? You use the damn chair. You just do what he says. If Matt Hardy says do something, you do it. You're giving him 50% of your third-party affiliate revenue.
Things, 30% of everything else.
I like it.
I know. I feel like if you're giving him that much money, maybe you should have a little bit of say in what goes on. But in terms of storytelling, it's been good. I did like on Impact when Hardy during his promo said, "Yeah, I'm getting 50% of what they make tonight." And they're like, 50%? All right, fine.
Because Impact's a third party.
It's like, yeah, exactly. All right, fine.
Yeah.
We'll trust
all right, you. Yeah, all right, fine, exactly.
They just kind of go along with it, but it's going to get to a point where they're not going to be cool with it. So after that,
yeah,
MJF,
dude, they should go so heel they turn on Matt. Because it's the same thing. Like they've Impact to sign Top Flight, and I know Private Party has quite a couple of years on Top Flight, but still,
AEW signed Top Flight.
Oh, did I say Impact?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, AEW.
It's okay. It's okay.
So they've got a couple of years on it, but still, you've got two really young, high-flying teams. You know, different gimmicks, sure, whatever, but still, they sort of fill the same niche. Top Flight, they're not going to be bad guys. They're probably not. It's probably going to be a while until they start winning matches. Private Party, I kind of feel like they need a kick in the pants, and I think a heel turn is good. Exactly what they need. And I don't want them to come back from it for like a while. They need to become monsters.
So after that, MJF and Wardlow walk in the Inner Circle's locker room. MJF says, hey, if it was up to me, I'm not sure if this match would be happening, but Chris is the leader, so what he says, go. Sammy stands up to him and says, if I had it my way, things would be a lot different. Meaning MJF wouldn't be in the Inner Circle. So MJF's like, okay, I get it. Here's the thing. I love you all. I love you, Sammy. We're a family, and they have to be a family to succeed. He says, Sammy, I respect you because you step up and you express yourself. MJF just says, I want what's best for the group. Let's go out there. Let's get this match out of the way. Let's be done with it. Offers up some fist bumps. Everybody obliges except Sammy just says, I'm not there yet.
We're not there yet.
And I don't think he's going to be there after tonight.
Probably not. After that, we had Leyla Hirsch versus Penelope Ford. I didn't see a whole lot of this match for some reason. I think I had stuff going on. Leyla Hirsch is really good, though.
Leyla Hirsch is really good. She's really good.
Yeah.
She's really good. So early on, Penelope Ford tries to go after Leyla Hirsch's knee. Doesn't really work that well. Hirsch hits a shoulder tackle, kips up. They run the ropes a bunch. Hirsch looks for a cross-arm breaker. Ford gets the ropes. Hirsch goes ringside to go after Kip Sabian. I think he told Chuck to trip up Hirsch. And she walks right into a pump kick from Penelope. So Penelope gets the advantage for a while. Eventually, they're trading blows. Leyla catches a kick, drops Penelope down. So Penelope has to do a split, hits a running knee, German suplex, corner double knees, and like a couple like a drop kick from the ropes. Get to two. She goes the second rope. Ford knocks her off. Goes for an axe kick. Hirsch dodges that. Hits a step-up senton on Chuck and Kip, which was great. And then she gets back in the ring. Penelope hits her with a pump kick and then covers her. And Kip keeps pushing Hirsch's foot off the rope so Ford can get the win. Afterwards, Miro hits the ring. Miro had like the most amazing sweatsuit I'd ever seen.
Yeah, it was odd. That was like the one thing I texted you during the show. I was like, oh my God, look at Miro's outfit. It's great. Great. He tries to give Charles Taylor, his new butler, his knee bun, a pep talk. And he says, man, you know what? You really need to let go of the past. I want you to take this microphone. And Orange Cassidy's out there in the crowd. I said, I want you to tell Orange Cassidy that Miro is your best friend now. It's me, Miro. So he gives him the mic and he says, yeah, Miro's my best friend. I wanted to acknowledge this really quick. DJ CES on Twitter let us know. I sort of saw this, but I didn't really. The AEW Heels ad ran during the Cody match.
Oh.
Not during the women's match.
There you go. Someone's paying attention.
Yeah.
Then after Chuck says that very hesitantly, Orange, who was already standing up, just walks out.
Yeah.
Maybe he was dejected. Who knows? You can't tell with Orange Cassidy.
After
that, the Good Brothers are backstage beating up Pentagon Jr. Kenny and Don Callis join in. At first, Callis tells Kenny, don't use your fists, use your feet because you don't want to mess up your hands. And while Anderson's choking him out with like an extension cord or something, Kenny takes off his fancy new boot and starts jabbing it in Pentagon's eye.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shows off his $1,000 boots to the camera.
They look pretty nice. I'm not sure I would rock them, even if I was like a super rich guy. It's not really
it's not my style. I like tennis shoes. That's what I'd wear.
What do you think? Were they the Dior ones?
Oh, the Jordan ones?
Yeah,
those were super expensive.
At the inauguration? How much are those ones?
They probably on the secondary market. They're probably thousands of dollars.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Everybody was flipping out over them today.
Expensive pair of shoes.
So after that, there was this women's eliminator tournament announcement.
Yeah. So they had a bracket. It wasn't filled in.
Yeah, no names.
And kind of the interesting thing on it was on the left side of the screen, it had an American flag in the background. And on the right side, had a Japanese flag. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they're going to kind of do split the bracket accordingly. I don't know.
Let's see here. So it's 8 on 8. I mean, it's 8 competitors on each side. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. But it's for the number one contender ship for the women's championship there in AEW.
Yep. So that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Looking forward to that. They announced some matches for next week. Of course, Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer. Cody is going to respond to Shaq. Dax Harwood versus Jungle Boy. As I mentioned, Young Bucks, Good Brothers taking on Dark Order. And then 2 weeks, of course, Beach Break, February 3rd, I think. Kip and Penelope's wedding. Britt versus Thunder Rosa. There's a tag team battle royal for the title shot at Revolution announced during the main event tonight. The main event of Beach Break is going to be the Good Brothers and Kenny taking on Mox, Phoenix, and Pac. So that should be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. Jorge D says Emi Sakura also said hashtag Choco Pro, so she might be bringing in people from Choco Pro. We might get Lulu Pencil in the tournament. That'd be sick. You got to watch that Church of Joshi, man. It's rad. Sunday mornings, have your coffee, watch some Church of Joshi.
You got that right. And then we got our main event, MJF, Jericho versus Sammy and Hager versus Santana Ortiz. Before the match began, Sammy Hagar.
Actual Sammy Hagar.
Yeah, dropped the Matt Chat question, putting his support behind Sammy Hagar.
Of course. Yeah.
Chris Jericho calling it a favor.
Or them just ordering one. I don't know if Sammy Hagar is actually on Cameo or not.
I don't know or not, but I'm guessing. I would be surprised if Chris Jericho just picked up the phone and called him.
Probably. This is a really fun match. Some interesting dynamics here. A little bit
got chippy really quickly.
Yeah, things got really. Yeah, I mean, this is Inner Circle's basically a powder keg waiting to happen.
Oh yeah,
Jericho is not a terrifically good leader, to be honest with you.
Everything they said they didn't do during the feud with the Elite, they do now.
Yeah,
Jericho's like, oh, we didn't hit our finishers on each other, so on and so forth. No, they totally do all that stuff now.
Yeah. The ending came there wasn't a whole lot of time to stew after the ending because it was like literally seconds before they had to go off the air. But MJF ended up getting the pin on Sammy on this one. But no, it was a really fun match.
It was really fun. The whole, especially like the last 5 minutes, just bang, 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 all sorts of crazy stuff. I was really hoping Santana Ortiz would win this, but you know what, MJF pinning Sammy with a handful of tights advances the story of the implosion of the Inner Circle, probably more than Santana Ortiz picking up the win, going on to face the Young Bucks for the titles and then eventually losing that match. When the Young Bucks beat Jericho and MJF, that's probably going to be what really causes things to completely and totally fall apart.
I would actually be shocked if it got that far. I think they have a very specific story in mind here. And it might involve winning the or challenging for the actual tag titles. It's very possible, but I just get the feeling that they have some very specific story beats, and I think it's totally leading to MJF taking over. I think it's there's some hints that I saw on the Reddits that from like over the past couple of weeks, and it's like, holy shit. That's why these, like, I know sometimes it seems like I barely pay attention, but like with certain story beats these days, I'm like paying super close attention to see, okay, what are they setting up here? Because some of this shit is like, wow. It's like it's like the stuff I remember texted you the Darby Allin stuff.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter too. Yeah.
Where he won with like the top rope crucifix pin, and that was the thing that Taz was trying to school Darby Allin with when he initially approached him. Yeah. And it's like, holy crap. Like they really have. And then when when I was reading about the MJF stuff and looking at all the clues, I was like, oh wow, that's
like,
okay.
Give me something.
Oh, it was the reactions to God, it was specifically it was the ultimatum. I think it was the ultimatum, and just the various reactions down to the individual for each person in the Inner Circle, how they were treating like Sammy versus MJF. It's like, oh wow, that's really cool. They all have their thing. That's neat. So yeah, if I find it, I'll show it to you.
Interesting. You want to answer some questions? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. I got a thread up here on the Patreon at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. For only $1 there, you can get your question answered right here on the show.
Yep.
And then also, if you check us out live, Larson will answer your question there from the Twitch.
Mean Green 49 with the sub. Thank you so much. Beans from the East says, am I the only one feeling this Impact AEW storyline is all over the place? Private Party showed up yesterday to earn an Impact title shot, but then tonight they turned heel fully and don't even interact with the Elite at all. I don't really feel like it's that over the place. I mean, Tony Khan made it clear why he brought Matt Hardy and Private Party over and why it was them.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. From strictly, if I'm strictly watching Dynamite and I had no interest in Impact, I could see that point of view.
Yeah, I suppose.
I could see that point of view.
Then you're just getting part of the story they're trying to tell. Totally, yeah.
I mean, with Kenny, you're getting part of it. Like Private Party, I mean, I know they obviously mentioned it tonight, what happened on Impact.
But that, like, they didn't show Tony Khan's.
Yeah, I don't think with Private Party you really need to like being paying attention to Impact. I don't think they're going to win the Impact titles.
No.
But, you know, I mean, Kenny's got history, but I don't know. I mean, look, I know we've had this sort of discussion before about, you know, AEW brought an audience with them, but then we also know anecdotally, plenty of people have told us that you know, AEW, they did not watch New Japan before they started watching AEW. A lot of people came in, oh, wow, they brought in a lot of people from WCW, new people. I don't know. You would hope that, you know, AEW has done a good job booking their stuff so far that people would take a little bit of a leap of faith with them. I mean, maybe it would behoove them to, I mean, you know, all of Impact stuff is on their YouTube channel, all the clips and stuff. So if people are interested, they can catch up. I mean, it might alienate some people who are just into AEW. At the same time, I think it's going to generate a lot more buzz to offset that and then some, you know, doing this crossover stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm pretty cool with it.
Yeah, I think I am too.
Let's see here. James Fletcher, out of all the current AEW factions, how many will still be a faction in a year?
Inner Circle, not as it's constituted currently. Hardy Party, no. I guess Chaos Project's more of a tag team as opposed to a full-on stable.
I don't know about Kingston's people. Kingston, Butcher, and Blade. I'm not sure if he's going to be with them in a year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Dark Order's still going to be around.
Maybe Death Triangle.
Yeah, I don't even know why they're a group, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
It was never really explained.
And they don't
why
really do a whole lot with them anyway. So if they stay together, why not?
Yeah.
Shane's birthday tweet with some bits says, why was JR so mad at commentary during this tag match? A couple of other people mentioned that JR was angry at one of the tag matches. I kind of vaguely remember that, but I don't remember which one. Was it the opening tag match? Or the Private Party one?
Was it the Private Party one?
Maybe it was the Private Party one.
Stevens J says the Private Party one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know, I don't know. What specifically?
Maybe, you know, JR's in the past spoken up about too much of the high-flying stuff. Maybe thought it was just too much high-flying stuff. Was he? Oh, okay. He kept on saying how there is no rules.
So he had a problem with the lack of rules in the tag match.
Yeah, there's a couple sequences where you know, there's supposed to be a 10 count, but there were, you know, guys in there for like 15 seconds. So
yeah, AEW can play it loose sometimes in order to have more exciting matches, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about AEW, man. They have no, you know, they have no WWE. They'll. You always know when you're gonna get a banger match from WWE. Usually, like, you can tell. Like, once they get in there, it's like, oh, they're going to go this route. This is going to be a really good match. And then, like, a lot of the other matches, you know, are, like, intentionally lukewarm or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
AEW, they're fine having, like, 4-star matches, like, you know.
All night, yeah.
Randomly. Yeah, or all night, yeah. They just go all out as much as they can.
Totally.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Coder, if Kenny and Rich Swann fight for the Impact World title, the Good Brothers take on Private Party for the tag belts, which AEW wrestler goes after the X Division title? Pac versus TJP. 205 Live reunion.
No,
I'm not serious.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Did Ray Phoenix ever win the X Division title when he was in Impact?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, I'd say
But
Ray
that's
Phoenix.
I'm talking about my knowledge. God, I even think kind of Ray Phoenix is maybe a little bit above the X Division.
Oh, entirely possible.
You know what? I feel like Joey Janela. He doesn't really do a whole lot in AEW. Send him over there to Impact for the X Division title.
All right.
Matt Sydal was already there, and I think Matt Sydal won the X Division title already, or at least
right.
he was over there.
He
for
was
a
there.
spell
Yeah, I remember he was involved
prior to
in stuff.
AEW.
That's when he was doing
his third eye thing. Yeah,
That's just what I was about to mention.
he was
Crossface
pretty
chicken.
good there.
Crossface chicken stand. I always forget the Shaq storyline until AEW mentions it. It is brought up so sporadically.
I know. It's really doing a disservice to Cody, which is fine because I think Cody was already like overexposed on AEW. But now that Brandy is obviously out of action because of her pregnancy, I don't know what are they gonna do here? The whole thing was meant to be Jade and Brandy, kind of clearly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I mean, I guess in that case, hey, give us a proxy for Shaq against Cody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who would that be? Like if the Acclaimed had a singles guy.
Yeah.
But they're just a tag team. They can't Rawgate Mutant themselves, so. If the Acclaimed were one person.
Just have Cody versus Shaq. That's what I'm talking about.
Just have Cody versus Shaq Daddy. Take on the Big Show.
Snare Freak, do you think that AEW could have used the Cody Mox match time to promote more of the women's roster? I feel like Cody didn't need that squash match as well as Mox. They think Cody and Mox, those are two reasons why people tune in to watch AEW. You want to have them on TV as much as possible in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing we have to realize is that, they still need to bring in viewers. And Cody is Cody and Mox is Mox. That's why they're like people are bitching about Cody having another action figure in Wave 4. It's like, they only had like one, it's like Brandy.
Yeah.
Riho never got one? Thought they were going to do a Riho one.
Maybe
That
sounds
not?
familiar.
I don't know. Anyways, Britt Baker was clowning it. And then somebody mentioned, well, you need, I guess toy lines usually have anchors, which are more, ones that are more popular. They know they're going to sell more, and Cody is that.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's another, thing with AEW not really booking the women's division terribly well,
In the toy line, exactly. Yeah, but what? Come on, you haven't had a Britt Baker figure yet? Come on.
Yeah, I know. Like Sheeta, she's been champ forever. How come she doesn't have a figure?
Yeah, well, they don't use her. I get that. You're right.
But still, she's champ.
Look, philosophically,
again,
you're right, but they don't use her.
It's because the creator for the women's division, since basically the inception of Dynamite, has not been great. So
somebody posted on our Twitter. Somebody either posted on our Twitter or I saw it on Twitter that the entirety of the women's division tonight comprised 4 minutes and 42 seconds.
I saw that. Yeah. R. Lopez Ortiz, I'm hoping AEW uses Jericho's obvious diminished skills for MJF to unseat him as the leader. Jericho didn't exactly hit that line salt terribly well.
That looks scary. That looks scary.
Yeah, that could have been bad.
He basically landed like on sort of the top of his head there.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas Price, could Ricky Starks versus MJF be one of the best feuds in the next few years? Ricky Starks is going to be huge.
Ricky Starks, X Division champion. Hip Hop Hippo. The best part of the inner circle splitting up is Santana Ortiz almost certainly turning babyface.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. I don't know, man. MJF is taking that group.
Yeah,
He's taking them away, man. It's going to be Jericho. And it wouldn't, it'd be great is if, you think that it's going to be Sammy that's on the outs. And Jericho and Sammy are on the outs. I like Sammy to be the guy to stick it in Jericho's back. He's got the motivation. Hey, you were going with this new guy. Well, no, I'm going to go with the new guy. I'm going to stab you in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Jaime Fonseca, do you guys think they should introduce a weight class-based title scene? Nah, because they've already established what they've established. It'd be difficult to then go to...
You don't want a Haas title?
Well, I want one, but it'd be weird to do that at this point. They have the Haas's.
Dang MQ, the ratings for tonight will be interesting, especially since Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, and PBS, as well as all the cable news networks, had inauguration coverage.
Yeah,
and nothing bad happened.
Yeah, it's gonna go. No, that's not. I'm not banking on much tomorrow on the ratings. Let's see here. Who Moses opposes? Who on the AEW roster would have the worst fate in WWE? He says don't mention anybody who's ex-WWE. So who, if they went over to WWE, would have the worst fate there? And let's say this, comparable maybe to what they could do in WWE.
I mean, it's easy to say the tag teams because WWE doesn't do anything with tag teams for the most part.
That's true. That's true. I on one hand, I'd say MJF, but on the other hand, the answer is completely Darby Allin. He's, he's just unless they, put him on SmackDown with Daniel Bryan and let him be Darby Allin with that name, that gimmick.
I know. Shooting
his own promos and black and white student film stuff. But it's WWE. Like, you just do what they say you do.
I know. Jorge D, how would you guys book the Sting Darby versus Team Taz street fight to not make Team Taz look worse than they already look against Sting? Well,
if
it's
going to be realistic and have it be 5-on-2 and they just annihilate Sting and Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Sting comes out of it, my hip's broken. Ah!
Well, assuming, the result has to be Sting and Darby Allin winning, then the two representatives of Team Taz have to be Taz and his son.
That's good, yeah. That's good. And then the other guys are standing, on the sidewalk, and they're like, "Boss, you want us to come in?" No, I'm good. It's him and Sting fighting like a couple of old ass men.
Yeah,
with bad necks.
Iruga, on a scale of 1 to sodium overload, how salty was JR tonight?
Man, I wish I got, Bama's all up my grill. She has homework due. Lacey comes home. I was making chili. I wish I kind of want to go back now and listen to JR's commentary. Here's the thing. You live by JR, you die by JR. He's going to give you what he's going to give you. And on nights, it's like it's 1998 again. And on some nights, it's just old, grumpy. I don't know what the weather's like there at Daly's Place tonight.
It's I don't want to be there, JR.
It's like, why did I sign up for this, JR?
Yeah, I know. Shane's birthday tweet. What was the better art gift, the Don and Kenny portrait or Owens Jericho during the Festival of Friendship?
Oh, it's got to be the oil painting tonight. They were, and they're like, their jeans were all like sagging. So like you could see like their pelvis.
You can see the deep V.
You could see that's right, the deep V. Yeah, it's the Festival of Friendship, I thought, was like one of the best segments in recent history. But yeah, that painting was something else tonight.
Yeah, that was something else.
Let's see here. It was pretty nice in Jacksonville tonight. What's the humidity like? Humidity's 88%, but it's only like, well, right now it's on. Well, they taped this last week though. Yeah, this was taped last week, I think.
No.
So who knows?
Who knows?
When you get that age, when you get that old, I don't know. Maybe he woke up and his freaking neck and his back was all out of sorts like me.
Could be, Steve. I'm just trying to do something. Is there going to be a story of the Dark Order going to build Hangman Page's confidence? Back up.
Yeah, I think they're taking the scenic route with this one. I think they're taking a while to do it, but I'm curious to see what the next beat is. Let's see here.
Broken Wheelchair says, I don't think AEW needs to bring in women to make their division better. They just need to book and give them better storylines. Tonight's match was really good. Yeah, totally.
I think they have the pieces in place. I just think that they could have. Come on, man. They could have tried to tell some stories with what they had. I know a lot of people blamed it on injuries and COVID, but come on, they could have done something.
Yeah, they could have.
A bit more than they did. I mean, I do think that maybe put that title on Britt Baker closer to after she became heel, because like if you need that time to build up Sheeta, because they really didn't, Thomas Dunn again. We'll finish with this one. Looking at Bullet Club members, who would you like to see most in AEW? AJ Styles, Finn Balor, or Adam Cole Bebe?
Adam Cole Bebe.
For me, it's Finn because he's kind of done everything in WWE. I'd like to see Finn there.
I just say Adam Cole because he's the youngest of the three. He's got more ahead of him, his wrestling career, than he has behind him.
Still want to know what the hell's going to happen with him on main roster.
Who? Adam Cole?
Yeah, if that ever happens.
Assuming that ever happens.
Yeah. Oh, no, Jorge D has the answer. It's Dick Togo. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. Twitch chat, stick around for a little bit. We'll answer some questions. Thanks for watching. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steven Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson.